waiting for what? Like, what do you expect will happen in the future that will make it easier than it is right now? Like, what are you actually waiting for? If there is a good reason to wait,
Yeah.
fair. But I would say 90% of the time it's very smart. Welcome back, everyone, to another Friday coffee chat. We're sitting here, we're having teas, both of us today. I'm having like a chocolate
Oh,
tea.
you did the, what's it called?
The
puer?
puer. I have no idea what this is. I had never heard it before, but it tastes really good. It's from Paper and Tea.
Yeah, I
I think
it's
it's called. I really like their tea and their chocolate,
company.
actually. I think so. I think they are German.
But you know, I ordered something from them and it came all the way from like Latvia. So I'm
What?
I'm like, I don't know.
Wait, was that okay? Was that the matcha
Yeah.
thing? So she got me a matcha set for my birthday, which I'm obsessed with. I still need to try it though.
I wanna,
At this
I think
point.
like we need a whole, video of you just like making
Trying
your
to figure out the
matcha.
matcha. Yeah, because you know what? Now that I have all the professional gear to, make matcha so
Yeah.
far, I just kind of. I mean, the only professional thing I had was just the whisk.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how else to do it. I don't know. Some people use a milk frother. Those like small little ones.
Oh yeah, the one I have that one. I use it for pre-workout.
Well, some people use that, but then I was like, I didn't have that at home, so I was
Yeah.
like, if I buy something, I might as well buy the real deal. So I'm very, very excited to try it. But yeah,
I'm
paper
curious.
and tea.
I'm curious.
What are you having?
I'm having a tea that you made me. I think it's a Greek tea. I don't know. I
Yes.
feel like I could drink this all day long.
It's again this like Greek mountain tea, chamomile,
It's
and
just
2 or 3
soothing.
other things.
It's
in
like
it.
the tea that you would have after you like went to spa, I think. Like this is my association with it. Like I'm just thinking about, I just went for a massage and I don't know, I went in the sauna and I'm dehydrated, so I have to have some tea, and it's this tea because it's relaxing. Like I have a whole picture in my mind of how this tea feels.
what it represents.
Exactly.
What it represents. I feel like this is the best kind of tea. I love it. It's like every tea has its own thing.
Yeah.
It's
I agree.
like an Earl Grey. It brings a vibe
I know
that
right?
an herbal tea doesn't bring. An herbal tea brings a different kind of vibe. And I agree. Like spa.
It's spa vibes.
It's spa vibes.
Exactly.
Anyway, how are you doing?
I'm good. I started watching the last season of Love is Blind. I know that it came out like a while ago, but you know how the one thing that I don't like, and that happened with previous seasons, and as you know, we are fans of trash TV, and we are proudly incorporating that as self-care. And Love is Blind is one of my favorite trash TVs because I feel like it goes beyond the whole like physical, like it has less, let's say, accent on sexuality and attractiveness and all that, and it's very wholesome.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's very psychological too, like
Right.
to just watch the couples. But anyway, I made this mistake with previous seasons where I basically watched the minute it came out.
And then you had to wait.
And then I had to wait because they do like these like cliffhangers, and then the last episode doesn't come out, and you're just sitting there waiting for these weddings to be out. So what I did this year is that I waited for the whole thing to come out, and then I watched it.
How far in are you?
I think I still have like the weddings and the reunion. So like the
Ooh.
actual tea.
Okay, but I don't know how you feel, but for me, the weddings are the most boring part. Like the only
Really?
non-boring part of it is just the decision.
Yeah.
Everything that happens before, everything that they're talking about, I'm like, okay, I just want to know, like,
Yeah.
are you gonna get married or not?
I know.
Everything
what you
before,
mean.
I'm kind of
They are
bored because
dragging it a
nothing really
bit.
happens. Exactly, and like everyone's just like, I don't know, like talking in riddles and stuff, because obviously they're trying to make it very, I don't know, like exciting and oh my god, is this a yes or is it a no? But I'm like, oh, just I don't know.
I know what you mean. You know what I've always wondered? Like, do they behave differently when the cameras are not there? Because, like, I feel like, you know, when the cameras are there, like, even now, you know, we have the cameras here.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like you instantly are, or maybe also subconsciously, you know, there's an eye watching you, if that makes sense, you know? I mean, I feel like, I don't know, you monitor maybe yourself a bit more. And I also noticed that with Love is Blind, especially when, you know, like at the weddings, when they start giving, like, you know, when like they get ready and they, you know, have these conversations with like family members and stuff. Some of them are like, oh my God, like this is a conversation about nothing.
Yeah.
And that is just dragging the show, like just get down to business. But yeah.
I mean, how could you not be aware of a camera when producers are asking you questions like, oh, so what do you think went that? You know, obviously we don't see it, but they're not just randomly standing there somewhere, you know, like in between the clips where it's like, I don't know, typically it says their name next to it and like they're saying something. Exactly. Like how could you not be aware? How could you not be aware of like, I don't know how many cameras being in the apartment? Whereas, so for example, right, I mean, you still haven't watched it, but I will get you to watch it soon. But with Love Island, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, everything is on camera. But from what I understand, it's just cameras everywhere in that house. So it's not like there's camera people standing there the whole time.
Okay. Because I feel like when you have a camera person...
Yeah.
Like, if we had, for instance, somebody who was actually, like, filming us right now, it wouldn't just be our cameras filming us, it would be different.
It would be different, right? And, like, especially if they interact with you and they're asking you questions and, you know, how can you not be aware?
Yeah. And I have to say, like, this season, there was this one guy, like, I don't know if you guys watched it, and I'm sorry if I'm spilling some tea, but maybe it's gonna actually make you curious about it. There was this guy. And I don't know. Like, I think he's going to say no. But he was just, like, so icky, you know?
Ooh.
There was this guy who works in medical devices, but he's, like, always surrounded by Botox and fillers. At least that's what he says.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I remember you talking about this the other day.
And I'm just like, okay. And, you know, like, when he came into the pods in the first few episodes, the first thing that he asked women was, what's wrong with you? It's like, what's wrong with you that you're here?
Who is he with?
He used to be with this. So there was a love triangle, but both girls were like, bye.
Oh, okay. No, wait. Okay, so he didn't make it.
No, he didn't make it. I think
he didn't make it out of the pods, right? Okay.
I think they broke up. No, he did make it out of the pods, but like when, you know, they were out in the real world, it didn't work out. Yeah. So, but I don't know. Maybe it will work out in the reunion. I have no idea. Anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, that was my, you know, latest thing that I just, you know.
That's your current focus.
My current focus. I don't know. It's just super relaxing because I feel
it's so good to watch it after a long day.
I kind of like. I have to say, like, I kind of dissociate a bit from reality when I'm watching this, you know, and it's just relaxing. But I feel like with the reality that we find ourselves in right now.
I don't want to watch, like, honestly, sometimes I don't want to watch the news. Anyway, we digress. But, you guys, today's topic is all going to be about, okay, we have the best intentions. We want to be productive. We want to manage this and that. But then, even though we have the best of intentions, we don't actually do it. Yeah. And so what is it that is missing to help us go from this is what we want to do to this is what we're actually doing? And so today's episode is going to be all about that. And just to put it in one word, it's going to be about the productivity mindset, because actually the mindset is the most powerful thing when it comes to actually getting things done. And we're going to go into that in more detail.
I feel like, you know, with productivity in general, when you think about productivity, a lot of the times and a lot of the advice that you see out there is just, you know, oh, make a plan, and we also have this kind of, advice, and we also do it in the balance formula, we have a system for that. But you know what they say, actions come from emotions and emotions come from thoughts. And I think if you actually want to change your actions, you also need to think about your mindset. Like the amount of times that I found myself aware of the two, let's say, the choices that I had when it comes to my mindset. I could choose to, let's say, give in to, I don't know, let's say my frustrations or the stress, or I could choose to show up for myself. And I feel like that is a choice that few people actually talk about because it is in our control. It is also maybe, going into this whole Delulu thing, thinking about, okay, but what kind of mindset do I want to adopt? Is it fake it till you make it? But, I read this advice, I think it was on TikTok, and I think it was Mel Robbins' podcast, that it's not fake it till you make it. Like, you actually intentionally put yourself in that mindset because that mindset is conducive to your goals, not because, oh, I'm just gonna fake it. I feel like an imposter, but I'm just gonna, put this face on that now I'm productive and everything, and I'll get things done. No, it's not about that. So we're gonna go into the mindset.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that you mentioned that because, like, this idea of, oh, only, like, just thinking about being a certain kind of person or being able to do this or that is faking. It's quite interesting. It is very interesting, and I think this is also, it lies at the center of a lot of problems actually that come with that keep us from even taking the steps that are necessary to move closer to our goals.
I agree.
It's like, what is faking? Like, what is fake and what is reality?
Exactly,
we want to, become super philosophical here now, but what does that even mean? And it is, everything starts in your mind. 100%.
It is a question of attitude, right? I think, like the highest form of change that we can ever express is once we change our attitude towards things.
Yeah.
Because our attitude is going to infuse how we perceive certain situations, is also going to infuse, for instance, if I am going to watch trash TV, if my attitude towards that is, trash TV is like a waste of time, versus my attitude towards that is like, trash TV can be an act of self-care, that's a different attitude. And suddenly, that mindset is making me perceive the actions that I'm doing in a whole other light. And I'm not, guilt-tripping myself into, oh my God, I could be watching a documentary or a podcast, and instead I'm watching trash TV that is like not good for me, blah, blah, blah. And instead of that, I'm not guilt-tripping myself, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm recharging while doing it. So, you know what I mean?
Question. I'm curious. Has there ever been like a point in your life, or maybe is it still this way, where you would say, I struggled to kind of turn my intentions into actions?
100%.
Yeah, same.
100%. I feel like in general with productivity and we all find ourselves sometimes having to do tasks that we're like, ugh, this, like I don't want to do it. And we still, kind of postpone it or procrastinate on it, maybe, for various reasons. We also have another whole episode on procrastination in one of the previous seasons, But I feel like with the attitude, sometimes I'm thinking, if only I could just master the right attitude when it comes to a task that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
So that I don't think, after the day has passed, like, oh my God, I haven't done anything. And that's also an attitude in itself, if you think about it. What about you?
You mean like the thinking of like, oh, I haven't done anything?
Yeah, exactly. Even that is an attitude that then kind of perpetuates this negative cycle that, oh yeah, you haven't done anything, you're lazy, or you can't be productive, or you always wanted to be productive but it never happened, and all of that. That in itself is an attitude.
It's also kind of how we choose to think about ourselves as well, in a way, right? So it's like, okay, I had this goal, I don't know, for whatever reason I didn't actually do what was necessary to work towards it. What does that say about me? And a lot of the times, it might be a lot of negative self-talk in that sense that might actually, like, you almost trying to convince yourself that you are this and that type of person, and this is why you weren't able to, I don't know, do what was necessary to work towards your goal. And that keeps you back the next day and the next week and the next year. If you stay in that mindset of, oh, there is something about me that it's just not possible.
I have to say that I see a trend that is just so worrying to me, because I feel like in our endeavor to like simplify the world around us, to make it more digestible, we tend to label ourselves too much, and that actually affects our mindset. Oh, I am a procrastinator, I am, I have imposter syndrome, I'm a people pleaser, and all of these things, that they create this identity of who you are, and you cannot really separate who you are from the actions that you're taking, and I feel like that is just so wrong, because it doesn't allow us to change.
Yeah, it does create this illusion of, this is how things are and this is how I am, and there's nothing to be done about it.
Exactly. So this is all, this is what mindset is about. It is about attitude. It is about how we see ourselves. And that actually trickles down to our productivity, how we reach our goals. It all starts with the thoughts that we have and with the attitude that we have about ourselves and about productivity and about goal pursuit in general. And how we create this mindset is what ensures that we will actually have the reality that we want.
All right, so then how can we actually get this right mindset and get organized and finally do what we said we would do, and work towards our goals, and literally be at a point at the end of this year where we look back and we're like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I didn't achieve everything. Obviously, you can't change everything completely within a year, but you know what? I have worked towards what I wanted to work towards. And we're going to go into that. And basically, we have structured it into do's and don'ts when it comes to the productivity mindset and building that effective productivity mindset that will help you, move from intention to implementation, basically.
So doing what you said you would do and honoring the promises that you made to yourself.
And the very first do is to visualize how it would feel once you actually keep to your intentions and do what you wanted to do.
I love that one. I have to say, I use that a lot whenever I don't have motivation to train. And like, for instance, because I have like my trainings are in my calendar, like they are sacred me time. And sometimes, of course, I get tired, or I just wake up and I just feel like, no. But I visualize how I would feel afterwards, and the key here is that I know how I will feel afterwards because I've done that before. Like, I've trained
it's
before.
It's not a question mark. It's not uncertain.
Exactly. And I'm just thinking, like, you get this rush, and you also kind of feel, like you did something for yourself already, because I usually train in the morning. So, the day hasn't even started technically, but I already did something for myself. And just visualizing this feeling of accomplishment, I think, too, is very motivating, I have to say.
I love that. I feel like I don't do this enough. In the sense of beforehand. I don't know why. It doesn't necessarily come natural to me to be visualizing this. But when it happens? When I'm on the reformer and I'm literally dying. Like, why did I sign up? Why did I think this is a good idea? Because, like, oh damn, I don't necessarily like, I don't know, effort in that sense, physical effort, right? But then you feel so good afterwards, and it's like, yeah, okay, I know why I'm doing it. And so I sign up for the next class.
Exactly.
As if, you know, that nothing happened, like it didn't happen. But you know what helps me even more, I have to say, than visualizing? Or what I do way more intuitively. It's like less thinking and more doing. And it kind of ties back to, you know, the Friday coffee chat we had about the whole overthinking. But for me, it's just like the second I start thinking about whatever it is that I need to do, I allow my thoughts the space to go places that are going to keep me from doing whatever. So literally, like, what do I mean by that, right? I need to go work out. Like, I don't know. I signed up for a yoga class or a Pilates class, whatever. And then I'm at home. And then I look outside and it's raining. And then I start thinking, oh, it's raining. And then I connect this with, I need to go outside now into the rain. To walk half an hour. And, you know, this is when I know I have lost. Like,
the motivation.
I've lost the game at this point in time. And I'm probably not gonna go.
That's so interesting.
And for me, it's like I need to create a space where it's so easy for me to just do what I need to do without thinking. So I can skip that. So I don't allow any space in my mind for any thought that will, you know, hold me back.
That's so interesting. I feel like, you know, listening to you talk about it, I feel like I've always been doing this, but without actually realizing it, you know? Like, I just know that the thing needs to be done.
So you just do it?
I just do it. I don't think I've found myself, maybe that is my excessive need for closure, I have to say. It could be that.
Like,
it could be
it's
that.
on the to-do list, it needs to get a tick. It cannot be erased.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't think about, okay, but like, how do I do it? Like, for instance, with writing, right? I mean, I'm finishing my dissertation now, and like that is taking a lot of,
If you ever wondered how academia is,
it's like this. Anyway, if I actually sat down and overthought everything that I'm writing, I don't think I would be done. So that's why I just sit down and I write. I sometimes write sentences that will probably get scrapped later on. I sometimes write sentences in, you know, words that like I would use to talk with friends, for instance. Like, I don't write in academic, but I just need to put the idea out there, you know? So I don't really go into like thinking, oh, but like, should I do it like this or should I do it like that? Or like, you know, oh, I can't do it here at home. I need to go to the office and blah, blah. Like, I don't overthink the details.
But like the starting point, like you just do.
Exactly. I just sit down and I do, because that needs to be done. And that is the same with training. That is the same with even stuff like going for a walk sometimes. Like, I have to say, sometimes I just go for a walk just because I need to get out of the house.
Okay,
That's
question. Does this also work for you, let's say, with things more spontaneously? Or does this work with things where, let's say, in the morning or the day before, you wrote it down in your schedule and in your to-do list, and you were like, okay, tomorrow I want to do, or today I want to do this, right? Let's say it's 5 things. Are you going to do it with these kinds of things? Or is it also going to be like, I don't know, just like spontaneously, let's go on a walk, and then it just happens?
I try to incorporate more spontaneity in my life, I have to say. Like, for instance, that one day when, you know, I was in the office and you texted me and you were like, oh, let's go for a walk, you know? Like, I still had stuff to do, but it was sunny, you know? And, like, in that moment, the fact that the sun was outside, you know, and, like, you know, we didn't have sun for a very long time. Yeah.
I mean, I also gave you, like, a 5-minute, like,
decision window,
because I was in the bus and I knew exactly, okay, it's like 3 stops And it's like, if she tells me, you know, like you had to tell me yes or no until then. Otherwise, I would have driven home or something.
No, but in that situation, like, for me, that was more important because there was an opportunity that I didn't want to miss, you know? And like, sure, you know, I worked a bit later in that evening, you know, like I sat down and I, you know, finished what I wanted to do. But that was because I allowed myself that spontaneity, you know? So I think it's a question of being true to who you are and true to what you promise yourself. So like you stay accountable not because of somebody, you stay accountable not because, you know, you guilt trip yourself, but you stay accountable because you respect yourself. And that is something that really motivates me in general. This mindset that I do things because I respect myself. I get things done because I respect myself. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like that is a huge motivator for me. That's a huge mindset, actually.
I feel like that really ties into like the third do, which is really about this importance of, you know, shifting your mindset towards yourself instead of shifting your mindset when it comes to like getting things done and being productive and like reaching, you know, the goals that you have. Kind of shifting it towards others and maybe even like competition or something like that, because at the end of the day it really is about you and the relationship you have with yourself. And it's like just trying to be, I don't know, how did they call it, like 1% better every day, you know, every day than you were yesterday. And this is what it comes down to, because, you know, when you want to get things done and when you have goals, it will help you the most when you do it for yourself, right? And it's goals that are important to you.
Yeah.
And you don't do it because you feel like you have to or you should. These are typically very, ineffective motivators.
Definitely.
In a way, at least in the long term. And so it just helps to, you know, focus on you and like how it makes you feel.
I have a metaphor that I use for exactly this one, where
go for it.
you focus on yourself and you try to be better than you were yesterday. And how I think about it, like whenever I have something to do and I sit down to do it, and maybe I don't have a lot of motivation in that moment, you know, maybe I didn't sleep very well, maybe, you know, like I know that there's a lot of stuff happening on that day. Maybe there's meetings and all of that. And I have this 1 hour window. You know what I visualize? Acceleration. Like actually, I don't know, pushing the lever in that sense and accelerating. And that is just, you know, like we push forward. 100 more meters. This 1 hour, I could think, oh yeah, but it's just 1 hour in between meetings. I don't think I'll do anything productive. Or I could push the lever.
That is so interesting. That's such a good one.
I could just make 100 meters more, you know, to get a little bit closer. I know it won't be like this amazing, you know, productive session, focus hour or whatever, but it will get me this much closer.
At least like baby steps. Even if it's baby steps closer, it's
closer. And this progress, even if it's this small, matters to me so much that I will get in that mindset of let's just accelerate just a little bit.
You know what? I really like this metaphor. And I also, like, I'm just thinking it could be so easily applied also to self-care.
Yes,
actually,
yes,
right? Because we are talking about productivity, but again, like we say over and over, productivity doesn't just mean replying to all the emails that are unread in your inbox or getting these and these tasks done or something. It can also be about self-care and any other goal you may have that is maybe well-being related. That 100%. Is like, I love to say that, you know what, resting can sometimes be the most productive thing you can do.
Yeah.
And just thinking about it in this way and kind of being like, okay, even if it is an hour or even if it is like 10 minutes only, maybe I can still take that time for myself in whichever way you want to show up for yourself.
And the funny thing is that usually in these moments, you know, they are the most precious one. That 10-minute break Even though it's not, maybe you think, oh, it's not going to do wonders for my productivity or my self-care, but it will give you a boost. It will accelerate you a bit. It will take you a bit closer to your goals, basically. And yeah, I feel like it's not necessarily about an all or nothing, mentality or mindset, where it's like, if I have this 1 hour, I can't do anything because it's just 1 hour in between meetings. Yeah. I won't do anything. Yeah. That is a mindset, you know? It's an all or nothing mindset. And but maybe you can move just a little bit.
Exactly. And you know what? If it is about doing nothing, then do nothing intentionally. In the sense of, not like, I can't do anything else. So this is what I'm going to do. No, it's like, I need this time off. I just need to relax for a bit. And so I'm going to do nothing. And that is a very different way of approaching it. Very different mindset.
I think it ties very well with the first don't, actually. Yeah. Which is basically to not wait for the perfect moment to start. And the way it ties very well is because, when you think about, let's say you have this limited time window where you could achieve a task. And you know that you won't achieve it to its 100%. You know you won't finish it, right? But it's not, late in the day where, that would make you ruminate after work hours on that task. But you know that you can do maybe, let's say, 20% of it. And that matters more than telling yourself that you won't be able to do it 100%. So basically kind of going into this whole idea of you don't have to wait for, the perfect environment. You don't have to wait for, the perfect, let's say, alignment of stars in that sense to start something. But you can start small, and you can start with 10% of that goal. You can start with 1% of that goal, but you can start. And that momentum is going to give you feedback that you are actually trying. You are on the right path. And that will also motivate you to even get closer to your goals. And I think that there's also like this very big theory in psychology that talks about, feedback loops when it comes to our goals in general. Like, we have a goal and we start the goal, and the closer we get to our goals, the more it motivates us to continue doing it. But if we won't start, that won't happen,
Yeah. And honestly, just plain and simply, I feel like there is no perfect time to start. It doesn't exist. Yeah. And once you realize that, it's like, then it becomes a question of, okay, do I really want to do whatever it is that, I said I would do, and whatever I said my goal would be, right? There is no perfect time. There really isn't. And I feel like this also ties in with a lot of the ways in which we sabotage ourselves, right? The thoughts that we use to sabotage. Yeah. Whatever it is that we're trying to do. Because I feel like, so one of these, and I've caught myself doing this as well, it's like almost like this expectation of like, it feels hard right now to do, I don't know, to sit down and start writing a chapter or something. So I'm just going to wait for the perfect moment. But this also means that you kind of have an expectation that at some point in the future, just magically, things are going to get easier. And that is an illusion. Yeah. Things will not just magically get easier, and you will not just wake up one day and be motivated. For sure. And ta-da, now life is like easy. Or it was the same with working out. I mean, I think I said so many times, like, you know me for years. For years, I was like, I will start working out. Yeah, I didn't do it for years until like I actually realized I can keep telling myself that I want to start and not do it, or I can tell myself that I'm going to start and actually do it. But it's really like waiting for what? Like, what do you expect will happen in the future that will make it easier than it is right now? Like, what are you actually waiting for? If there is a good reason to wait. Yeah. Fair. But I would say 90% of the times there is not a good reason to wait.
Yeah, but I feel like that actually ties super well with the second don't here, which is to not shift responsibility on external influences for why you aren't able to do the thing that you said you would do. Yeah. And I've seen that so many times you know, oh, I can't work here, you know, because I don't have the perfect setup. Or, oh yeah, I mean, there's just too much noise in the office and I can't do anything, you know? Or like...
I would say that.
Yeah.
Then sometimes I'm like, shh. Just shush everyone.
Closed.
You know, I need silence.
Yeah.
No, but I know what you mean.
No, it is just a lot of the times we do find excuses for why things cannot happen. You know, like a lot of the times we're just thinking, oh yeah, you know, I can't go running because I don't have the right shoes. Or I can't, you know, go out and go to the gym because it's raining. You know, there's a lot of things. We shift the responsibility on external factors because it's easy. Like, it's easy for our brains to feel good because we didn't do something, but it's not us. It's something else. Like, we are okay, you know, we are fine. And that is a protection mechanism. And sometimes it's legit. Like, sometimes it has its place. But a lot of the times...
It's just an excuse.
It's just an excuse, really, that we find ourselves.
And then the question is, like, why are you coming up with excuses, right? And that, like, there might be, as you said, there might be a legit good reason, because maybe it isn't an important goal to you, or, you know, maybe there's something else that lies behind it, but...
Oh, I have a metaphor for that, and a filter for that I use to keep myself in check when it comes to whether I should do something or not, and whether... I'm shifting responsibility on external influences for why I'm not doing a certain thing. And that is questioning myself whether, is that an excuse or an explanation? It's like what you said, you know, sometimes the goal maybe doesn't serve you anymore, or maybe your goals in that moment are different. That is an explanation. It's a legit explanation that makes sense. And then you can responsibly and accountably go ahead because you respect yourself. Again, I think it's all a question of self-respect in the end. But when it's an excuse, then you also hold yourself accountable, you know? Oh, I don't want to go out to the gym because it's raining. Is that an excuse or is that an explanation? Can you take an umbrella and still go? You know what I mean? I mean, if
not in this country.
Yeah, you know?
We have to say an umbrella breaks in this country. So I just want to say, was it an excuse? Yes, absolutely. But still, you know, it's like my Southern European heart can't deal with it. Oh, well, it's, you know what, if you want to do something, you will find a way to do it.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
And just really making sure that whatever explanation you give yourself is in line with your goals and is in line with accountability and self-respect. I think that is a huge filter to have, just in general, to kind of understand, am I doing this because I just found excuses for it and I'm shifting responsibility, or am I doing this because I actually don't want to do this anymore?
Yeah.
Which, fair enough, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like all of this actually ties into, like, everything we've talked about. I feel like ties into the last don't, which is don't wait for motivation to kick in until you do something. And I don't know why, but I feel like there is this misconception that we first need motivation before something can happen. And I'm sometimes thinking, like, I'm thinking back about, okay, what was I told by society or, you know, whoever growing up? Like, what did we learn growing up, how it works? And you, like, do you remember, like, back in the day, but honestly, even now, it's like a lot of people praise motivation, right? Oh, she's such a motivated kid. She's such a motivated person, whatever. She finds motivation. Okay, so we learned that we need motivation to be able to achieve something or to do something. But this also means that when I don't feel motivated, perfect excuse to not do it. I just don't feel motivated right now.
Yeah.
You know, and that is, I think, with also, we are almost like programmed. I'm going to take this back. Not programmed, but kind of conditioned in a way where it's like, I don't feel motivated, so I will not do it.
Yeah.
And this is very tricky, especially when you're trying to build new habits, or, you know, not everything you are going to have to do in life is fun.
Adulting is hard.
So, it's very difficult to find motivation to do my taxes.
Yeah.
Does it help that I have a specific window and I need to do them? So I do them. Sure. This kind of gives me motivation. But what I want to say is I will probably procrastinate it.
Yeah.
Till the end if I'm waiting for like the motivation. And I feel like there is a bit of a gap there of, how we've been taught to think about getting things done and the role of motivation
100%.
versus how it actually works.
I have a bone to pick here with psychology in general, that we focus so much on motivation because we kind of come from this assumption that, people do what they want to do. If I did only what I wanted to do, come on, I would.
How many things of what you're doing right now wouldn't you be doing?
Exactly. And I think that is just such a misconception. We don't do things that we want to do all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe most of the time we do things that we have to do and less of the things that we want to do. And this is also a question of, consistency and discipline. It's also a question of owing it to yourself to do certain things that you said you would do because you wanted to in the beginning. Okay, sure, now the motivation is not there yet, but you still owe it to yourself to fulfill that goal that you had in the beginning.
Yeah, I will say though, I think motivation, there is a difference between the daily motivation, finding daily motivation, and then having a more overarching motivation because there are certain things that you value in life and there are certain reasons of why you would like to do something, right? And on the way, you may have to do things that you don't really feel motivated doing, but because you have this like main motivation, you will still do it. So I feel like it's, you know what I mean? It's like if I want financial freedom, I will work. I will, do certain things that will help me get there, even though I might not feel motivated to prepare a presentation this morning. So I feel like there's a difference in those levels and
baby
like being
steps.
Aware of, you need an overall motivation in life. You need the why. You need to know your why. And then when it comes to the daily motivation, it's like, okay, maybe the overall motivation, the overall why is just going to have to be stronger than, do I feel like going out in the rain today to go to yoga?
Exactly. Well, there was a whole chat, I think, already. We've touched upon a lot of things. And funny enough, it's all about mindset. It's all about the attitude.
It all starts with your thoughts.
Yeah, it all starts with your thoughts. It all starts with the attitude that you choose to have on a daily basis and how that attitude is supporting or sabotaging your bigger goals in life. And we hope that these do's and don'ts have helped you reflect a little bit more on what choices you are making on a daily basis when it comes to your goals. And maybe even now, get up and do the thing that you said you would do because you respect yourself, because you owe it to yourself, and because you want to live the life that you want.
If you've been enjoying this episode, support our Friday coffee chats by buying us a coffee. You can find the link in the episode description. And if you've been loving this episode, send it to a friend so that they can also find their most effective productivity mindset. See you next week.